So this is something that I've talked about before in another podcast, but this is something that I could say a million times. I could do a million videos on this simply because I find it so important. Basically, all I want to say is that you are on your own path. You're exactly where you are supposed to be. And just stop comparing yourself to other people, because if you do, you'll just never be happy. And I talked about this in my relationship with social media video. And it's so easy nowadays to, you know, you look at your peers, your friends, family, people around you, and you compare yourself to other people. And it starts at a very young age. It starts when you're in school, and it still happens. Like, people in their 20s and 30s and 40s are having this problem where, they compare themselves to their peers, and they think like, oh, I'm not doing enough, or I'm not good enough. Like, oh, this person is doing that, and I feel like I should be doing that. And it also comes from the parents, right? The parents are doing this thing where it's like, oh, your older sister, gets these good grades, and, does all these sports and extracurriculars, and they have good social skills. Like, why aren't you like your sister, Brandon? Like, that's just a that's just a made up example. I'm not using real life examples. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, it's easy to compare yourself, and it also comes from the parents as well. But you have to understand, whatever you're doing, you're exactly where you are supposed to be. When I was younger, I dreamed big, like a lot of kids do. When I was younger, I thought, by the time I'm 28 years old, I'm 28, if you don't already know. When I was younger, I thought, at 28, I would have this very well-paying job, and maybe I was, maybe married or with a partner, settled down, and, living a good life, Now, the thing is, I'm not, with the partner, which is totally fine. I'm single, and I'm happy to be alone. I have I have an okay paying job, but it's one of those things where it's the amount of money that I make right now, it's honestly a lot less compared to, my last job that I got laid off from, 6 or 7 months ago. And, it's so easy to compare myself, I make less money now than I did like 3-4 years ago. I'm moving behind in life. And then I look at my friends, oh, my friends are, they work these nice jobs, and I know they're getting paid good money, and I know they're getting paid more than me, so it's easy to compare yourself to other people. But for me, I just remind myself that when it comes to growth, and this applies to anything, it could be your career, it could be your personal life. This can even apply to YouTube, right? Growth is not always going to be linear. You just assume it is, and I'll just use the career as an example. As you get older, if you change jobs or get promotions, you just assume that you move up, and, you get a new job title, or you get a raise, but it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes you can go backwards in salary, and I had to learn that it's totally okay, and I shouldn't feel like a failure because of that. And I know back then I used to compare myself to other people who were settled down in a relationship. I used to think to myself, like, oh, you know, I'm so lonely and I see all these other people in a relationship and like they seem happy and settled down. And it's like, am I going to be able to experience that? Because at the time I was single and, but now, as I've, experienced relationships, I kind of realize like, I'm way better off being by myself. And it's not to say that like, I'm not built for a relationship. It's just that like, it's a couple of things I realize, like, I'm okay being single. Like, I'm okay if I, like, never really find a partner. I don't think it's going to really bother me. Just because of, the last relationship I was in, like, I'm like, man, I don't want to have to deal with all that. So again, it's like, you compare yourself and, sometimes it's the parents, like they give you like the pressure, like, oh, like this person is doing this, or like, oh, your sister is like getting good grades and has a good job and does all these extracurriculars and, is like a good person and has like social skills. Like, why aren't you like that? And sometimes, maybe it's like other family members that are like, oh, Brandon, like when are you gonna like get married, or when are you gonna find someone, or like, we can't wait to see your kids, like, or like when you have kids, like, we're gonna be so excited. And it's like, I mean, I don't, I don't want kids. Like, yeah, no kids. Like, that's just, I think that's a terrible decision to have kids. Again, that's a whole nother topic. I mean, I did another video on that, but yeah, no, not a wise choice in my opinion. But, and then another thing is, when it comes to YouTube, I say that I've been taking this seriously for about November, December, January, February, March, April, May. So 7 months. Even though my first video, I guess, that you see public on the channel right now is back in 2024, I really didn't start to take this channel seriously in November 2025 when I was laid off from my last company. At that time, I had, I think it was like 50, 60 subscribers. So it wasn't like a lot, But it's easy to compare yourself when you're doing this YouTube stuff, and it's like, because for me, it's like, I do these videos because I have fun, right? I want to document my life and I want something to look back on when I get older. But as this channel has grown a little bit, I realized that, this could be a reality, because I've had dreams, and I still dream to this day about, doing YouTube as a full-time thing. And, sometimes I do get frustrated if I, spend the time to make a video and edit it and everything, and I don't really get the results that I want to see. And sometimes, I watch other, smaller creators, and I'm not going to say this person's name because I don't want to be petty, but there's this one girl on YouTube who, honestly, like, her content is like, I feel like it's about the same as mine, but she, like, I guess got into the algorithm, and like within a few weeks, like, she got like 2,000 subscribers, and it's like, and I'm like, I do the same stuff as you. Like, what? So again, it's easy to compare yourself, especially when you're doing content creation, because it's like you look at other people and it's like, objectively, they're making worse content or like the same kind of content, but somehow they're getting more views than me. they're getting more subscribers, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong, you know? But I remind myself, if I have that mindset, I will not be happy. Like it will lose the fun out of doing these YouTube videos, you know? Because if I have this mindset, like, oh, like I'm comparing myself to this person, like when it comes to YouTube, unless I'm Mr. Beast, like there's always going to be somebody else who is better. There's always going to be somebody else who gets more views, who has more subscribers. So if I constantly think to myself like, oh, like why am I not doing as well as this person, then, you know, I just won't be happy, you know? So it's something that I just have to remind myself, like, at the end of the day, my main priority to doing these videos is to simply document my life. And it's something for me to look back on when I get older. And, I feel like I've been thinking about this a lot lately just because, I'm 28 years old and I'm about to turn 29 later this month. And, it's hitting me that I'm entering my last year of my 20s, and definitely I'm, planning to do more podcasts, tell more stories this year for sure. But I want to be able to share like some life lessons, like things that I've learned while being in my 20s, that I want to talk about here on my channel. It's just like, when I was younger, did I think that I would at 28 years old, did my younger self think that I would be doing this, like talking to the camera with my shirt off, doing videos of me eating Domino's pizza, eating Cheez-Its? Like, no, not really. But, I do this because I have fun, and I realize that, documenting my life is important to me, and there's always that potential that my channel could one day grow and be something big. So that's why I do it. That's why I make this a priority for myself, So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I feel like I kind of went in a lot of different directions in this video, but basically the message that I want to share is, if you're constantly comparing yourself to other people, just try to stop, because it's not going to do you any favors. Just remind yourself you are exactly where you are supposed to be in life. Everybody is on their own path.